Was the night before Christmas. Big question is, have you left your milk and cookies out for Santa Claus? This is a big one, a massive season. It's Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park. Do you know what this is called? It's called Revenge Time. Come on, Gunners!
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
Welcome, everyone. Good evening. Here we are. It's the night before the big game. Back in the house is my podcast brother from another mother, Mr. Super Kev, Super Kevin Campbell.
You know what to do, squaddies. Don't forget you've had me a lot this week. Salute. You see, even Vinny's at it. Salute and hit the like button. At ease, squaddies.
Vinny's really excited. Vinny's really excited for the new season, Kev. Let me just make this wee adjustment right here. He's so excited for the new season. He cannot wait. Like many of us Gooners as well. Thanks for everyone who's joining us. For those listening on replay, thank you for joining us too. And to our listeners on audio, iTunes, Spotify, and Acast, thank you so much for hanging out. We've got Super Kev back in the house. Cherish him while you can, because once this season starts, this man's going to be busy. He's got three teams in the Premier League this season. So, let's soak him up while we can. He will be here. We will have Kevin Says on Friday. You guys just rewind the show at the end and you'll understand what our schedule looks like this coming season. Let's not forget to say hello to our good friends at Zenith Coins. Look at that. Beautiful. Zenith Coins. They're marrying the past with the future. They're creating an incredible product for us. And you're going to have a Highbury Squad coin, and that's going to go to some special people, guests, and of course, we will do sweepstakes as well. So, Kev, how is this as a player? You've done pre-season, right? You've gone through the rigmaroles of all of that. And now it's the night before the first game. What does that feel like as a player? As a fan, I'm beside myself and couldn't sleep last night. Maybe that had something to do with catching up on All or Nothing. But what is it like as a player as you head into the first game?
This is what all the hard works have been about. This is what all the double sessions, triple sessions, all the tiredness, the hard work, the graft, the mental training, everything comes down to this. Comes down to playing the first game, and hopefully you do everything to get the 3 points, and then that just ticks pre-season off nicely. We've had a good pre-season. We've gone into the league and we've won the first game. Tick. Fantastic. So again, as a player, you're not too overhyped, but you're excited.
Yeah. No, I know. Let's see what we're saying here. Super Kev, great show. Curtis hates me now. He unfollowed me on social media because I had a pop at him ripping his shirt up when he got a bit upset after one of the results last season. But that's fine. I still like Curtis. And
he did say today that he hopes he won't have to do that again.
Well, I mean, I was honest. I felt like it was a little bit over the top, but there you go. Still big up to him and what he's doing on his channel. I always find it amusing as to why people unfollow you. And that one for me was, a little bit surprising considering that we've kind of been huge supporters of him and he's been huge supporters of us. But glad you enjoyed Kev on Curtis's show. It's the players. He says that to everyone. It's the players. It's the players, and the players are going to be the ones that have to show up. But Kev, there's no doubt about it that Mikel Arteta is under an intense amount of pressure this season. If he thought he was under pressure last season, he is under pressure this season. Is he not? I mean,
I think he was more under pressure last season, if I'm honest.
Really? Like $500 million in the making on transfers, and you think he was more under pressure last season than this season?
Yeah, because he's got a better squad now.
So doesn't that make him even more under pressure?
No, the pressure at Arsenal's always it's always there. It's always there. It's always there to do well. But you know what? I'd rather go into the season with the players I got this season than last season. So, you know, the pressure's going to be there anyway. The key is, have I got the horses to and players to cross that white line to do the job? Do you know what? I feel a lot better this season.
But don't you feel like after the spending and missing out on Champions League and whiffing towards the end of last season, and I'm not trying to be negative here whatsoever, I'm just trying to present a scenario of the fact that they've totally backed Mikel Arteta. He's the guy. He's been given all of the funds and the investment. This season, to me, is his biggest pressurized, most intense season to deliver.
But that's you, Soph. That's you. But when you're on the inside, the pressure's always the same. The pressure is always there to deliver. Now, if you're doing a blockbuster movie and you've got some A-list stars acting, do you feel better with the A-list stars acting or with the B-list stars acting? You feel a bit better that you're going to have a blockbuster with the A-list stars. The pressure is still there to create a blockbuster. And that's what Arsenal have to do. I agree. The money does bring added pressure from who? From the fans, because of what you spend. But the job on the inside at Arsenal is still the same.
I totally get that, but and I love the analogy. But there's a big difference between when I'm working on a film, for example, like if it's the new Star Wars film, which has cost a gazillion million dollars to make, versus an independent film that could be a sleeper, like Full Monty or Napoleon Dynamite or whatever. There's much more pressure when you invest more in a project. There's a lot of pressure on Paramount Pictures that Top Gun 2 delivered because they invested an insane amount of money in that versus maybe a smaller movie they had made, a couple of years ago.
The analogy that you're saying is totally different. We're not talking about an independent. We're talking about Paramount doing number one and then doing number two. This is every season is 1, 2, 3. It goes on. So at the end of the day, if Paramount don't invest in the correct actors at the start, and the film is okay, but isn't that blockbuster that they wanted, and then Paramount then say, right, do you know what, Sophie? I want you to get me a few A-listers to go in this number 2 and make it a blockbuster.
But let me tell you, there's a lot of A-list movies that have absolutely died at the box office.
Yeah, but of course, but the key is, Sophie, what you then do, you then go and try and recruit the best actors you can for the budget, because that then gives you, look, nothing is promised, nothing is guaranteed. But the better the actor you get is the better you believe the end chances are going to be.
Of course.
And that's what Mikel Arteta's doing. That's what he has to do. Now, we all understand how a season can go. The way we can't start off any worse than we did last season. So it was atrocious.
Well, I hope not. Absolutely.
But it was atrocious. But the pressure was, believe you me, the pressure he felt after losing them first 3 games last season, Sophie, is nowhere near the pressure. The pressure now is nowhere near that. Nowhere near. He feels a lot more confident now. That's for sure.
Okay, confidence versus pressure are 2 very different things, because I'm confident going into a negotiation, or people can be confident going into something, but the pressure is still there because you've got to deliver. And there's no doubt that he has to deliver this season. We have spent a tremendous amount of money. We're one of the biggest spenders this summer. We were the biggest spenders last summer. Now it's time to get results. And now
Sophie,
it's time to take the process. Wait,
Sophie,
now
we've been playing catch up.
Hold on. Let me finish. No, now it's time. Catch up. 3 years. It's time to take the process to progress. There's no other way around it. I'm watching the All or Nothing, and we'll talk about that towards the end of the show real quick. But at some point, you've got to take process to progress. For me, you cannot lose to Crystal Palace. You cannot have all of this euphoria from the summer and go into the Crystal Palace game and lose the game and lose that momentum and then become the dartboard game one. You cannot, because the run in after that, the games that we have after that are all winnable. Like, you can go into the next few games with, some points under your belt. So I don't know any business, any industry, when someone gives you $500 million to invest, where there's no pressure, and whether it's the same pressure.
Who said no pressure?
No, but it's a different pressure, Kev. It's an elevated pressure because they've invested in you.
Yeah, Sophie. But you see, if you listen to what I say, the pressure's always there. They give you the money, the pressure's always there. But because you have now got better quality in your squad, you are more confident to deliver.
Yeah, I understand there's confidence.
Yeah, but the pressure's always going to be there. It is always there at Arsenal, always.
It is, but I think, my personal opinion, and we'll move on, is that this season, that pressure is magnified for Mikel Arteta. Because the owners have.
If that's what you believe, that's what you believe.
I think most fans and
most fans might believe that, Sophie. But for me, the pressure doesn't change. It's always to deliver at Arsenal. It's always there.
Yeah, but there's a different narrative, Kev. Like,
it doesn't matter the narrative, Soph. The narrative doesn't matter. You're Arsenal. You're the Arsenal. You've got to deliver. He had to deliver last season. We didn't get there. It's still the same this season. Still the same. So I understand what you're saying. I understand. But it is there for him to deliver.
Kev, do you think this? Okay, so do you think that LeBron James' stress and pressure to win when he went back to Cleveland was the same as when he was at Cleveland? No, it was not. It was more magnified because he was going back.
Sophie, that's the wrong team to choose. Let's look at the Lakers. When LeBron James,
we're not the Lakers, not right now.
We are the Lakers because the Lakers hadn't won when LeBron James went back.
Yeah, but he won in COVID in a bubble. No one. That's an asterisk.
It matters because the first season he didn't win. It's a big club who are winners. Arsenal are a big club that are winners. They haven't won for a while.
But there's a similar analogy with Cleveland because it's his hometown.
They've won once.
But that was the point of him going back. The pressure was insurmountable on him when he went back.
They've only won once. They're not a winning franchise.
I understand that. I understand that. But I'm trying to give you a comparison of the elevation.
It's not a good comparison as far as I'm concerned. Because the Lakers, if you remember rightly, when he went to the Lakers, they don't care what he's done at Miami. They don't care what he's done at Cleveland. You've got to do it here. So the pressure is always on you at the Lakers. That is my point.
Of course, it's always on you.
That's my point. That's what I've been saying.
I'm giving you an example of an athlete and a coach, right? So from a athlete coach perspective, take out the franchise or the team. Arteta is under he should be under the magnifying glass this season. This isn't the way I wanted to start the show, by the way, you guys.
Sophie, he's under the magnifying glass every season.
No, this season's different. No,
it
Kev,
isn't,
you cannot.
Sophie.
No,
Sophie,
it is.
Well, listen, it is to you. But trust me, when you're on the inside, whether he spends no money or he spends $500 million, you are still expected to win at Arsenal. You are.
Of course you are, but come on, the culture and the DNA has changed, so not winning became plateau.
But he's changed it.
He's changing it. He hasn't done it yet.
No, he's changed it. It has changed. It's not where we want it to be, but it has changed.
No, we haven't won anything major, so therefore he is still.
Sophie, he's changed it. So I said this to you yesterday. The team we have now is nothing like the team we had 2 years ago. Is that right?
No, it's not.
But you said, yeah, you're right, Kev. It is. The team now is totally different to the team we had 2 years ago. The team we had 2 years ago wasn't likable. The team we have now is likable. That's the difference. The team now is connected to the fan base. The team 2 years ago was not. This is the difference. And I know it's all quantifiable, and rightly so, Sophie, by winning and being successful. But you have to get there. Every season, Sophie, the pressure is always there at Arsenal. People don't care. They don't care. They want to win.
Yeah. And also, don't tell me to calm down, people. What if I'm talking normally?
You are calm.
Why don't you tell Kev to calm down? He's more elevated than I am right now. Stop this. I'm going to block people this season when they do that shit. For crying out loud. I'm not sounding like Dan Potts either. For fuck's sake. There, I swore on my own channel. Stop it. Alarm. See, the fire engines, the sirens are coming for you.
They're setting off alarms. Hold on. We didn't mean to start like this.
We haven't even played a game.
Hey, do you know what, Soph? You could tell the season's upon us. The season's here.
I just really detest, okay, when people tell me to calm down when I'm just talking normally. We're just having a conversation. I'm not having it this season. I'm not. Just stop it. Listen, right, 230 of you in chat.
Sophie, Sophie, I understand totally what you're saying. I totally understand. But this is the difference between, this is why you are you're the fan.
Oh.
And I'm talking about from the inside.
And this season, we're going to do that much more. Much more.
Have to. Oh my
God, this gets my goat up.
I think that because you said don't say it, people are going to start. Is there? Yeah, I think there might be some. There's going to be some cards coming out.
Stephen, yellow for you. Shut up.
Oh, jeez. You got to shut up, mate. You got, Steve, you got to shut up. Oh, jeez. Oh, man.
Okay, listen, Kev. We're going to move on. We're going to talk about the game, all right? And I love it that you see it the way you do, and I know you love it and you see it the way I do, in the sense that, and when I'm watching this All or Nothing show, I'm like, dude, you better deliver this season. Stop with this hugging and the whiteboard and the this and the that, and with your never walk alone speaker stuff. You need to deliver this season. There is no hiding. This team has to finish fourth. We have to win a trophy, or we have to win the Europa League to get into the Champions League. The owners have gotten behind you. And for all you poo-pooers out there who have been spitting on the Cronkies for so long, they have given this guy everything. And if you watch that show, Josh Kroenke has had Mikel's back. That's the one thing. I've got takeaways from these first few episodes, Kev. Josh Kroenke has been engaged with Mikel and he's had his back. You saw that scene after we lost 3 games. They're sitting at the breakfast table and he's having this little chat with him without even saying it. He's like, dude, you're safe.
Got you. I got you.
I've got you.
I got you. Yeah.
Exactly.
100%. I got you. Yeah.
And so for me, right, this is the concern going into this season. I think we're being a little bit overhyped. So we get to Crystal Palace, all right, Kev? Let's just get into this game real quick before we talk about some of the other stuff. Crystal Palace have won 6 of their last home games last season. They kept 5 clean sheets in each of their last 5. And in each of those last 5, they played Arsenal, Manchester City, and Manchester United. They had a great end to the season. They finished 12th, which in Patrick's eyes, I think was a little bit disappointing. He transformed the way they played, totally evolved the club in terms of the Hodgson chapters. He's looked way deep into the academy. They took 4 points off us last season. And some would argue that we were lucky to get the 1 point at the Emirates. They lost to Liverpool and Manchester United in pre-season. I don't know what that means. Going into this match, Kev, let me give everyone like the highlights. They've got some issues at the goalkeeper. Their new signing, Sam Johnston, who I know that you've been a fan of over the last season, has a quad injury. Jack Butland, I think, has a broken hand. James MacArthur might be out, which means Decore will make his first start. Jordan Ayew, Zaha, and who am I missing? Jordan
Elise.
Ayew. Edouard maybe, I think, will be starting. And Eze, of course, Eze will be a danger. Their new signing, who I'm probably going to absolutely ruin how I'm pronouncing his name, Ebioe? Is that how you pronounce his name? He's come in from Derby. He's had an incredible preseason. They're comparing him to Zaha. They're saying he has got a ton of composure on the ball. He's got very quick feet, and that he's going to be kind of like the immediate future star of Crystal Palace. Now, of course, as we know, preseason means nothing. Their first 11 didn't really play together very much during preseason. So, with that said, revenge time, Kev. They've got a good squad, but in terms of that, Jordan Ayew, Zaha, the Edouard, you're going to have Gabriel. Some people are talking about maybe Saliba will start, Ben White on the right. We've got our injuries. We know that Tierney's only just coming back to training, Tomiyasu. What's your take on the immediate kind of, facing Crystal Palace this season versus last season?
Look, I think they're obviously their best player, Zaha. We've got some very, very interested and talented players, obviously. But if I'm honest, Sophie, I think it's more about us. It's more about us. It's when they turned us over at their place, back in the last season, we were all over the place, weren't we? We were all over the place. It was a must-win game for us after the international break. We couldn't. It looks like we couldn't string two passes together. We were all over the place, and they rightly gave us a seeing to. Let's be honest. Now we obviously get to invest in some more quality, but I think this is all about us now. I keep saying it's the players, Soph. The players have to cross that white line. The players have to meet fire with fire and be better than the opposition. That's the name of the game. As you said, quite rightly said, there's no hiding place. There's no hiding place for anybody now. The Arsenal have to emerge. The Arsenal have to emerge. And you know what? We've taken on some good teams in pre-season. And I know everybody says pre-season don't mean anything. But it does mean something, because you have to get yourself to a point where you're confident and you're calm and you're happy to be ready to go into that first game. And I think we are. I don't think any Arsenal fan could say we're not ready for this first game. We are ready for the first game. And it's about us going there and beating them, not about them. We know they've got good players. We know how they play. It's up to us to be able to play around them and punish them when we can.
Where do you think our biggest... So I'm assuming that you think the starting lineup is, and my mother always taught me never to assume, by the way, Super Kev. It's going to be Ramsdale, White, Gabriel, Saliba, Zinchenko.
Same team that started against Sevilla, I'd say.
Yeah, Partey, Xhaka, and then you've got Martinelli, Odegaard, Saka, and Jesus up front. Yeah. So what scares you the most about Crystal Palace? Of course, they've been a bit of a team for us. Going to Selhurst Park is never easy. You've played there many, many times. What do you think mentally? I think this team might be different from the 3-0 loss to last season. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Again, it's the approach, it's the attitude. You know, we've seen a certain attitude in a lot of the games in pre-season where we've been on the front foot, and we perform better when we're on the front foot. The way we went after Sevilla, I think, was fantastic. You know, trapping them so many times. I think Crystal Palace might play a different style than Sevilla. They might not play too much out from the back, and they might knock it longer and play off the bits and pieces. Because if you're crazy if you play into our into our press, especially when you got Jesus, who is a master of the press. So they might play a different way, and then it's going to be up to our defenders and midfielders to be able to get the ball down and play around them. That's the key. We've got to be able to do that. So, look, I remember Mateta causing us all sorts of problems there last season, just with his physicality. Saliba being there, I think, is gonna really help that. But whether we like it or not, Sophie, we've got to be able to get that ball down and play around them and play to our strengths. We didn't see it when we played there last season, but this is the first game of the season. I think we're going to see a different Arsenal going there with a different attitude.
And I think, Kev, the difference between facing them last season and this season, and this is, of course, the two marquee players for each side. Jesus adds an X factor. Simon Cowell sends people to Hollywood to make blockbuster movies that are star A-listers that will be a success. Going back to our
Are you recruiting the A-listers again?
But he brings an X factor. And if you listen to, what's amazing to me is the narrative is very different when, the pundits and media are talking about Jesus, because a lot of people think that Manchester City made a mistake letting Sterling and Jesus go in particular. Some even think the same with Zinchenko as well, Kev. So he really is the X factor that adds another dimension and another level to us when we were struggling for goals last season, being able to create something out of nothing, but also what he provides in terms of maybe circling and arcing Arteta's, desire to have a complete forward line that presses and moves as a unit and is in tandem, for as much of the game as can possibly be.
Yeah, I think the important things you've addressed there and you've talked about regarding, what I think a lot of it is what we do. So having a fluid forward line. Why I say a fluid forward line is because at times you might see Jesus out on the left, and you might see Martinelli end up in the center. That type of movement out to in to out. That might cause some problems. I've seen Granit Xhaka pick up positions for Jesus's first goal where Jesus was wide. He collects a crossfield pass from Ben White. He takes a touch and then he plays a ball into the box. Who's in the box? Granit Xhaka. Normally, Granit Xhaka is just backing up the play. But now, these guys are getting the confidence to go beyond. I think it's very important because we know they're going to ask us questions, but the key is, Sophie, can we ask Palace more questions? The best teams ask the opposition the most questions. And the best teams ask that many questions that the opposition cannot answer. They can't answer all the questions. That's why they end up winning. The best teams tend to end up winning. So that's what we have to do. And under Mikel Arteta, right now, it seems as though we've got some real fluidity at the top end of the pitch. I think Jesus will be a difference maker because not only can he press, not only can he link play, not only can he run in behind them and play anywhere across the front line. Sophie, he's a devil in the box. He's a fox in the box. He scores all of his goals in the box. So he's always on the move. You watch him, he's on the move. He's causing defenders all sorts of problems. That's what we didn't have in Lacazette last season. At times, that's what we didn't have in Aubameyang, when he went off the boil at times. So 25-year-old, top striker, Brazil international, is leading our line. I fancy our chances.
I think there's a big difference too for Palace this year, isn't it? Not having Conor Gallagher. Whether Conor Gallagher shines for Chelsea this season, Kev, around some of those other players, but I mean, he was a sensation for them last season and was really the nucleus to most things that happened in that in that midfield. Do you think they're weakened, or do you think Decore is going to be Decore is that kind of play that maybe we would have wanted over the last 2 or 3 seasons? Do you see a fall in quality, or do you feel like it's a like for like in terms of their
Uh,
midfield?
yeah, I don't think it's a like for like. I think Decore's a fine player, good player. But I think Gallagher was this bundle of energy, and they let him loose. He could run up and down all day. He can go and join in the attack at every chance he got. And at times he was making the second striker up there because they played with two wingers, a striker, and at times he was bombing on to make the second striker. Very difficult to pick up. I think their Palace will be a bit more controlled with Decore. As I said, he's a very good player, more of a technical player. Conor Gallagher is more of a runner than being a technical player. Very good at what he does, Conor Gallagher. So, he's going to have an interesting time at Chelsea. It's going to be interesting to see how he gets on. But again, I just think I don't think Palace will be the same. They'll still be good, but I don't think they'll be the same because they won't have that player with his energy joining in all the time.
So do you think they're weaker now
No,
heading into this game, Kev?
no, I wouldn't say again weaker. No, not necessarily. But what they used against you last season was they kind of constricted your space, and you had Gallagher who would join in to cause you problems. Listen, we're talking about Crystal Palace. They finished 12th last season. So they're not one of the top teams. But one thing they can do, they can turn it on against the top teams and make life difficult for you. And if you're not at it, Sophie, they've got enough quality and they've got enough good players to hurt you. So you have to bring your A game. You have to get on top of them, and you have to show them who's boss. You have to.
How important do you think it is, Kev, that we score first? We've seen the struggle before, when we concede a goal. We've seen our struggle kind of first half versus second half Arsenal. Maybe that was a year, 18 months ago. Um, and Emery's era, perhaps more. We were a second half Arsenal team as well. But with Arteta's Arsenal moving forward the way we are for this particular team, mentality is going to be massive. You and I talk about mentality all the time. We did on last night's show. I spoke to Perry Groves about that earlier on this week too. It's going to be huge. I do believe our mental impotence has gone from impotence to maybe, not strength, super strength yet, but I think we're getting there, but we're
Strong,
not going
getting
to know.
stronger. Getting
Yeah.
stronger.
How important is it for us to score first, do you think, tomorrow?
Well, I think us scoring first tomorrow puts them under huge pressure because their game plan then kind of goes out the window. Because I could imagine what they're going to do. They're going to play very conservative to start with and hope to catch us on the break. We're going to have to break. That's what they done with us last season. They played very conservative, pressed us when they could, but didn't let us settle. That's the game plan. And then if they get their nose in front, it makes it so hard to break them down. We get a goal, then they're at home, they're going to have to come at us. And that's going to suit us even more. I'll be honest with you, Sophie. I want the mindset to be clean sheet. I want a clean sheet at Crystal Palace. I think we've got a back five now, all good players who should be relishing these clean sheets. That's the name of the game. The mindset of our defense and back five should be clean sheet. The mindset of our midfield, come strikers, should be go and win the game. Us scoring first puts them under massive pressure.
Yeah. I agree with Bob here. If we thump Palace tomorrow, I truly believe we're going to have a fantastic season. I would say if we thump Palace tomorrow, give the team confidence going into the season. I don't think it solidifies that we're going to have a fantastic season. We all want to have a fantastic season, but starting off positive compared to what we did last season is so important. I think the dartboards will be grander, sharper. bigger. This is why I started off the show and we kind of went off kilter and off agenda, having a little discussion about the pressure and the stress. You know, people are going to say, you spent all this money last season, you spent all this money this season. And this isn't me being negative, you guys. This is just facts. When you invest so much money in a project, you expect results. You need to get and garner success. And so starting off well is going to breed that confidence in this team. Kev, in terms of the youngest team narrative, which is all over the All or Nothing documentary, that's not going to wash this season, is it?
No, but they look, they're a year older. They're a year, they've gone through some trauma last season, especially at the end, Sophie. Because you know what? You know, as a player, you know when you think you're good, Soph, and when you think you're good, and then you're ahead, and then you come into the Spurs game, then all of a sudden you get turned over pretty easy at Spurs. You're still in pole position, then things get tight. You go to Newcastle, and Newcastle batter you as well. You win the last game, but it's a bit of a dead rubber because Spurs ain't gonna falter. Mm-hmm. So from 1 minute you think you're good, and the next minute is you don't get over the line for what you want. It's a reality check. It is a reality check. We got checked at the end of last season. So what I'm hoping, and I'm really hoping and praying, is that adversity makes us even more stronger, makes us more determined, makes the mindset, because the only way you learn is through mistakes. If you're winning every week, you don't learn anything. You learn that you know that you're good, complacency could kick in, etc. We were good for parts of last season. We were poor for parts of last season. Didn't get the job done in the end. And probably the worst one was the way we lost at Spurs. We weren't good enough. You know, they got a break or two, but we were never really in it, if we're honest, so we had a good 20 minutes at the start, but we were never going to win that game. And you know, they beat us 3-0 quite comfortably in the end.
Yeah.
We need that to be our fuel, Sophie. Moments like that at the end steals you. It steals you. It makes you more determined to get the job done. And now you're seeing better players coming in. A striker who's a proper fox and devil in the box. You're looking around and you're thinking, actually, I feel a lot better than I did last season.
There's no doubt about that.
The key is, Sophie, as we said right at the start of the show, delivery. You got to deliver. That's the name of the game. It's delivery. So whether you look at the manager, he's got to deliver. The players have to deliver. It's the Arsenal who have to deliver now.
Yeah. And the rot really started, or I would say the fear kicked in when we did lose that 3-0 game against Palace. And I think it planted seeds of doubt maybe in that young side that hopefully they've grown and evolved from. And when you have players like Zinchenko and Jesus come in, even though they're young, they're 25, they come with all this experience. They've been in big game situations. They can calm the nerves, calm people down. And you're seeing some of that naivety, I think, in this All or Nothing documentary, which we're going to get to in just a second. There are 370 of you in live chat. Kev wants 200 likes before he ducks out. 200. Otherwise, he's going to be doing a lot of this season. All right. And I may even do some of this, which I started off no nonsense this season. Don't come at me for my opinion. Don't come at me. Don't come at me. Don't come at me. As long as we're cordial, we have a good conversation. No one's being mean. No one's bullying. No one's being racist or misogynistic or abusive. You can come in here and always say what you want. The Highbury Squad do not charge for super chats. Everyone's voice is heard. And we have a great democracy in this room. And we always talk beautifully about our football. My opinion is Mikel Arteta is the most under pressure manager in the Premier League at the start of the season. Let me know what you think in chat if you agree or disagree. I don't think Conte's under the same pressure as Mikel. Pep isn't. Klopp isn't.
Why isn't
Tuchel
Conte?
might be. Huh?
Why isn't Conte?
Because I think that he's had half a season at Tottenham, and this is his team that he's turning, and he hasn't had the same time as Mikel Arteta or nowhere near the same amount of money invested. I think Frank Lampard is under a tremendous amount of pressure for different reasons. But I think if you're talking about David Moyes isn't under pressure, I think Ten Hag's going to be given time. If you're talking about top six managers, there is no doubt whatsoever, in my humble opinion, as Wes Bird would love that I've said that, that he is the most under pressure manager. Do you, and you, I know you don't agree with that, Kev.
No, I don't. Because
You think Conte is under more pressure than,
no, I think Conte's under similar pressure. Similar pressure.
I think it's
At
both
Spurs.
same.
He's got a more mature squad. He's got two world-class strikers. He's bought very well. And they're in the Champions League. And they're a club that don't win trophies. He's been brought in to win trophies. So how could you say he's not under the same pressure? He should be under more.
Because of timing, Kev. Because
no, but he should be under. For me, he should be under more pressure because he's got that resume. They don't. Yep. The top managers, as you well know, you don't get time. The top managers don't get time.
So you think Tuchel and Conte, maybe there's a different vibe of pressure for them than Mikel's facing at the
It's Mikel is under heavy pressure. Of course he is. I get that. I think Tuchel's under pressure because the way Chelsea have gone at the end of last season, and then the way they went through pre-season, it hasn't been great. So there's going to be a pressure there. No Abramovich, new owner. There's going to be a certain pressure on Tuchel to deliver. There is.
I have a message from our good friend Demian, who's on the road playing and can't be in chat, but he just sent me a note saying the reason why he thinks that Mikel's under more pressure too is because Spurs don't win anything. So what are the expectations? They're not used to winning. We are.
Yeah, but again, the manager's been brought in to win. So,
yes, and I understand that. But if he doesn't, it's just another Spurs season.
So that negates Spurs don't win anything. That negates that because the manager, everybody says, it's because of Conte why they got fourth. Okay, so it's because of Conte why they're under serious pressure to deliver this season. Can't have it both ways.
Gamer, we talk about all people that don't say nice things. Okay. Wow, what a great way to start the season, Kev. It's all kicked off.
Is everybody, do you know something as well, Sophie? Even in the training before the season starts, things starts to get chippy.
Yes.
Things starts to
don't
get
you love
chippy.
It?
But this is why I love it, because everybody's kind of on edge. Everybody's got a little edge to them today because you know what? We get going tomorrow, guys. Squaddies, we're going tomorrow. It's brilliant.
Listen, some people have written they hope that Arsenal players come out firing the way I have tonight.
There you go.
Listen, standards, people, standards. We got 376 in chat. Suraj, Chief Like Officer, Deputy this evening, and 156 likes.
Come on.
Kev wants
with the
it
likes.
All right, Kev, before we get to a little bit about All or Nothing, we spoke about it last night, but now we've seen the episode, so I definitely want your take and stuff like that. And yes, the Arsenal players should come out firing on all cylinders. No excuses this season, people. My humble pie, there's no humble pie. Is there a humble pie for me this season, Kev?
No, there's no humble pie. I've eaten it. So. Sophie, it was sitting there in the fridge, and I just thought, you know what? There's no humble pie because this is a season of prove it now. We got to prove it. I get that. We got to prove it. So
yes,
let's go out and prove it.
I am Lone Star. I'm all business. And thank you for that, E. I appreciate that. He didn't want to talk to me last night. Kev, So
Yes.
so the LAFC team were like, yeah, grab him when he comes out. He's such a cheeky little bugger, right? I'm telling you right now, he better be careful, this Bale geezer. So he comes out and I said, can I just get a few words for TalkSport? And he goes, oh, I'm sorry. He goes, they told me not to talk. Typical player. Have you done that in your career, Kev? Have
No,
you
never,
thrown your PR team? You would never do that, Super
never,
Kev.
never do that.
And he's got his little ponytail and he's walking off. Meanwhile, Jonathan Dos Santos, who was at La Masia with his brother Gio, top quality guy, plays for Club America in Mexico, was playing here, obviously played, was, young in Europe and a hot prospect, hung out, sat, chatted. Carlos Vela and Bale ran to the bus, Kev. Ran to the bus.
Listen, it is what it is at the end of the day.
It
is what it is.
All right. What's your prediction for tomorrow, Super Kev? What are
I
your...
want that clean sheet and I want 2-0. I think Jesus will score the first. I'm not sure who will score the second. I wouldn't mind a Jesus brace. Saka might come into it as well. So either Jesus 2 or Jesus and Saka. But I want that. I think getting a clean sheet at Palace is a very good statement for us. Shutting them down at their place. Good weapons, Zaha and Eze and Ayew and all these guys, Edouard and all these guys who are very good players. But we got to lock them down. Shut them down. Clean sheet. Win on the road. London derby. Lovely jubbly. 3 points.
Swedish Gunner, this is a good question. I think Kev's just answered it for you. He's going for Gabriel Jesus. I am going for Zinchenko to get a goal tomorrow. 2 new boys, Kev.
Is it the first? You get him to get the second?
Get Zinchenko. Z gets the second. Our 2 new boys. We go out of Crystal Palace 3-1. Victors.
I'll take that, Soph.
Yeah.
I like the clean sheet, but I'll take 3-1.
Yeah. We got one.
This is it. Yeah, Daddy. Come on, Daddy.
2-0 says Chris. Mark says 2-0 as well. Lynn thinks our boys will win, just like they did, picking up from where they left off. A Martinelli masterclass, says Stephen. Dublin Gooner says, don't worry, Bell's. He's really, I can't say too much. Bonzo says 4-0, 3-1.
Now, Bonzo, I'll take that. I'll take that.
One, okay.
Yeah, Trevor, I'll take that. 3-1 to the Arsenal.
Gooner Rose, 3-0 first half. Woo! I like it. Avon says 4-0. Saka penalty, says Jacob. We'll take it all. 3-0 with Martinelli and Jesus scoring. Oh, Jesus. I like to call him Jesus. You saw my candle, right, everyone? In case you missed it yesterday. Just saying. This is going to be lit tonight. Just like Greek church at Easter, where you come home and you light your candle and it's the eternal candle that stays lit for the whole season.
Have you noticed, people? Have you noticed the keel behind it? Have you noticed? Have you noticed?
Oh.
Have you noticed the keel? You got to make sure you got some liquid just in case you need to put it out, right, Soul?
Exactly. Oh, Kev, I love you. You're cracking me up tonight. Brilliant stuff. Right, Kev, we've done our predictions. I'm going to say, 3-1, 2-0 says Kev. We got the candle going. The eternal light will be going all season. Have you watched the first 3 episodes?
Yes.
What was your thoughts?
My thoughts, just like anything, Soph, I think it's a really good insight pulling that curtain back and seeing what goes on behind the scenes. Because don't forget, Sophie, the bigger picture says we're already ahead of it. So we're having to take our thoughts back to that time and think about it. So you're going to marry maybe some of your thoughts and memories and feelings to that time. But what it might do, it should let people understand a little bit more about what was actually happening at that time. You might have had them feelings, but this is what was going on the inside. I love that, Soph. And you know what? It's different to the others that have gone, because this is a squad that got put together after losing the first 3 games, and everything was to try and build them. That's the key, is to try and build them up. So we're seeing Mikel Arteta have to go to work. That's
so, yeah. So for all the people that told me that, Mikel Arteta didn't really want to talk to the cameras and didn't want to be part of the interviews, my goodness, woo, he loves a camera. He loves a camera. He loves the sound of his own voice, and as he should, because every manager and coach should love the sound of their own voice, because it's their voice that counts. It's their voice that has to permeate. It's their voice that matters. I do like how he involves, different people in terms of the influential side. I like seeing the assistant coaches go one-on-one. Did they do that a lot in your day, Kev? The assistant coaches, the way they pulled. If you guys haven't seen it yet, these are spoilers. Just tune out. Don't want to lose listeners. But the Emil Smith Rowe one-on-one, there was it's kind of sad to me when I watch it. I wish this had just gone to air immediately after the season ended, because we're in such a positive phase right now. And it's really sad seeing Aubameyang, to me, as critical as I was. It kind of makes me sad that it didn't work out. And it makes me even sadder considering he's been linked with Chelsea. There's that moment when Nuno has his debut and Arteta tosses him something. And I'm like, that's kind of sad too. I just wish it had aired immediately after the season when we were feeling the pain versus now, Kev. But those one-on-one situations and those pull-offs,
the one-on-one used to go on all the time. Yeah. Theo Foley, bless him, he's no longer with us, was excellent at that. He really was. And Geordie Armstrong was good at that. Stuart Houston was very good at that as well. Pat Rice was probably the best at it, if I'm honest with you. But there's so much more staff now, so than there ever was in my day.
I bet.
So many more bodies, so many more people who have got a voice, who are watching. But yeah, it did go on, and it is important. It's important for the manager to be able to rely on these guys.
Yeah. Big guy, Kev was the one comparing us to the Lakers, not me.
I mentioned LeBron James going to the Lakers. Yeah. Sophie mentioned LeBron going to Cleveland. I mentioned LeBron going to the Lakers. The comparison, because winning franchises or big franchises, big clubs who are used to winning, who are not winning. That's the comparison.
Yeah. I think we need to make T-shirts. Xhaka's my favorite quote so far. Come at me. He's a freak. I love that he called Arteta a freak, because it explains a little bit about his ideas and methodology, Kev. There are modern... He's a little bit like Pep. I'm sure it happens with Pep too. And I've been part of like studio execs or filmmakers that have crazy ideas that think are going to motivate you. And some of them work and some of them don't.
They're driven. They're driven. It seems as though they're driven by a different energy.
Yeah.
And, whether you call it your freak or freakish or crazy or, whatever superlative or word you use to explain it, one thing it does say, Sophie, Mikel Arteta is all in. He is all in.
And he's in control of everything.
Yes.
That's what my biggest
gathered already.
Takeaway.
Yeah.
That he's the guy. And one of the biggest things that I was surprised at was seeing how Josh's involvement was in those first 3 episodes. Here's one of the things, and we'll go out on this. Kev's got to go do another show as well. We don't want to keep you guys too long this evening. My biggest thing was I've seen a lot of people say, I couldn't watch the fans. I couldn't watch the fans. I don't know if I was watching a different show, and you have to separate the voiceover and the audio they're using from people phoning in or Talk Sport saying things or BBC Live. But I felt like the fans they chose to speak, like the women, the hairdresser, some of I thought they were actually quite measured. And I've seen a few people come at the fans being like, "You're embarrassing," and this. And I was thinking, no. And I at first I was thinking, the documentary is trying to set up our fans to look like fools because they doubted, but they're setting up the narrative, people. This is how it works to show that it was broken and Mikel and Edu and the owners fixed it.
Mhm.
I don't think the fans that they've showcased so far, I'm on episode 2 and halfway through 3, have been that embarrassing. Again, Kev, separating from what they're playing audio-wise on the phone-ins.
Sophie, you're gonna whether you like it or not. These people come out with all sorts of stuff. It wasn't. It's again. I've seen it. I've seen the 3 episodes. There's no fan embarrassing anybody, as far as I'm concerned. So the people who say that, I think, Sophie, I think it's more about the people who comment like that than it is actually the people
I
who.
agree with you.
You know what I mean? Yeah, it's more about the people who do it because I don't know where they're coming from, if I'm honest with you. I don't.
Yeah. I don't either. And I have to say, Kev, I've seen pictures of you and your mom. You shared with us kindly on this show when you signed your contract with the Arsenal and your mum standing proudly. My biggest takeaway, and I'm not going to lie, I felt like I was watching a movie. Ramsdale's family had me choked up because to me, that is what it is all about. And when his dad saw the team sheet and he's like, he's fucking starting. Oh. And he's like, oh, he's on the front. Kev, moments.
Sophie, this is a young player who was more than happy to come to our football club, the Arsenal, who got absolutely battered by so-called fans. Because they're not real fans, Sophie. They're not real fans. They're not. They're so-called fans. Because real Arsenal fans don't do that to players who want to come and be part of it. And look, Sophie, he's got the #1 shirt now, which is
Yeah, I love that.
which is right. He deserves that. And do you know what, Sophie? Isn't it refreshing to see how much it means
Yeah.
to a player and the family, the whole family, to be joining our wonderful football club? That's
Yeah.
what this is about. That's what buying the players that are going to give everything for this football club. It's important, guys. That's why the way it was 2 years ago to the way it was now, the way it is now, is totally different. Because we've got players who care. We've got players who want to play for the club, who cherish the badge, who cherish the football club, who put the football club on a pedestal. Not, I'm bigger than the club or I'm the big I am. No, the football club is #1.
Love
And
that.
the more of those like-minded people who we get in, the better we're going to be.
Totally agree. You can see the shift, and there's definitely a culture change, and it's evolving, and hopefully that will lead to a good season, better performances, mental strength, enhancing all the way around. I don't think they're going to give up. I think they're going to give everything. Of course, an added competition this season is not going to make things easier. We were only playing, 1 game a week or whatever it was, we have to close and we have to have a better season. And here's to the Arsenal Football Club having a massively successful season. We wish all of our players well. We wish Mikel Arteta well, everyone involved in the club, and fans everywhere, near, far, that you have an epic time. Let's respect each other, respect each other's opinions. It's going to be a long road. There's a long way to go, and we'll be with you every single step of the way. In the meantime, that's it for tonight. Kev, you are off to talk Nottingham Forest next. Let everyone know where they can find you if they're interested in hearing a little Forest chat.
Yeah, I'm going to be on Mr. Door on tour, at Mr. Door on tour, I think we're going to start at 9:30. So,
Okay.
so I'm going to prepare some nice juicy questions for the panel. And we're going to get into it. It's 48 hours before they start at Newcastle. So it's a real exciting time for all of Nottingham. 23 years, people. Here we are complaining sometimes about Arsenal ain't doing this. They've been out of it for 23 years. So it's listen, it's the biggest thing to happen for a long time down there. So
I
I
love
look
it. And you know
forward
what?
to it.
I'm rooting for Forest. I loved watching them play. If you're old as Kev and I, you'll remember the Nigel Clough teams, the European
Oh,
teams, some major players. And for a lot of Forest fans, one of the greatest duos that they broke up that they feel was the demise of Forest was Pierre Van Hooijdonk and Super Kev here. They felt that once they made that decision, it all went Pete Tong for them. But
mm.
I tell you something, that will grab the headlines if Forest beat Newcastle on the first game of the season, Kev.
Oh,
That would be
listen,
amazing.
I'll tell you what though, Soph. Newcastle are going to be handy. Newcastle are going to be very handy, very tough team, especially at St James's.
Definitely.
So Forest are going to have their work cut out. But you know what? We've seen these things happen on the first day, haven't we, Soph? We've seen the new
Totally.
boys come up and all of a sudden, surprise the Premier League. So it's going to be exciting no matter what.
It is for sure. Tomorrow morning, my time, but 3:30 in the afternoon, I'll be on Sky Sports News. It'll be me and a Crystal Palace YouTuber going at it before the big game. So if you are watching Sky Sports, you will find me on there. And let's just say someone might be coming to London soon, but I will not reveal that until I don't know,
What,
maybe next week, Kev.
Soph, what time are you on tomorrow?
3:30 your time.
I'm on, I think, just after 8 in the morning.
Dominating, Kev. Absolutely dominating.
Highbury Squad dominating.
Take us out, Kev.
All right, squaddies. Listen, we started with passion. We started with a bit of aggression. Season starts tomorrow. Hostess with the mostest there has got it going on. You know that. And we're always going to support her when she's on Sky Sports or Talk Sport or whatever. We're always going to do that. We support you guys. We support you guys. We love you. Tell your loved ones. Tell people you care for them. And always remember, this is the best place to get your Arsenal knowledge. I salute you all. Take good care, ladies and gentlemen, squaddies. At ease, everybody. At ease.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
The Highbury Squad is powered by Zenith Coins. Support the future, treasure the past. Official licence partner of the Arsenal Football Club. Follow at Zenith Coins across all social platforms.